in at least till my father's generation, Indians were naturally bilingual or trilingual. They wrote and spoke in multiple languages. It's only with my generation and younger that people started to become this linguistic or monolinguist, so to speak.
Right.
Whereas their only language they truly seem to have is English, if they come from an English medium, so to speak, background. But that is worth destroying, in my opinion. We should go back to an era where Indians should be able to read, write in more than one languages. Of course, you should keep English. English is, English has also become an Indian language. But there should be at least one or two languages that you can effortlessly read and write in.
Yeah, I've met many friends from the South who can speak Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Hindi and English. I think one of the tragedies of being a northerner is that you assume that all you got to learn is Hindi and English, and that should be enough. But you also miss out on the polyglot benefits of having a mind that can comprehend the world through different languages.
And imagine if you were, as a northerner, as you said, if you were to learn even a rudimentary Tamil, imagine the universe that will open up to you. Right? If you learn if you even learn rudimentary Bangla, imagine you would be able to understand Tagore in the language that he wrote in, right? You would be able to understand the cinema of Satyajit Ray in the language he made them. And I'm just saying, there's just enormous things that open up, right? And there are institutions and organizations in India who do this very well. The Indian Army, for instance. It's a natural institution that embraces this polyglotness of India, right? You will see many Indian Army people are able to comprehend, if not speak and use multiple languages because they're posted all over the place, right? Certainly Indian diplomats, right? That's another Indian IS officers, because they're posted constantly here and there, sometimes are able to do this. Among non-governmental organizations, I can think of many. I'll give you one example. The Ramakrishna Mission, the monks of the Ramakrishna Mission, again, constantly traveling from temple to temple, are able to often pick up, I have met many Ramakrishna Mission monks who are fluent in Bangla, the language of Vivekananda, the language of Sri Ramakrishna. The other organization that does this really well is the RSS. Again, if you talk to many of the RSS people, they're often posted very far away from their birthplaces to work in RSS pracharaks and so on and so forth. They pick up this this ability to, I have met RSS people who are from Maharashtra and who speak fluent Kashi, fluent Ohmiya or fluent Oriya, right? And that's because they spent many years in different parts of the country and picked it up. So this is our natural inheritance, and many organizations have this, and I think many common people had this. I think we have created this terrible boundary by embracing only English as our sole tool, right? But remember, you can never love your mother in somebody else's tongue.
That's so true.
You must remember this.
Yeah.
You can never hope to retain your sovereignty, protect your motherland, and indeed love your mother in a borrowed language.
Yeah. Yesterday, when I was coming back to Delhi from the airport, my Uber driver happened to be someone I know the neighborhood that he belongs to. So I was chatting with him. He was a rags to riches kind of a story, right? He built himself from scratch. He says, because I couldn't speak English, I insist that my kids speak only English at home. Their mother speaks English. So sometimes they're saying something to me and I can't understand, but I'm very happy they're speaking English. So, and I gave him the OTP in Hindi. Hindi counting is something that I often do because I think most people from my generation are forgetting it. He's like, so Sarsat is what? Then I had to tell him what it means. Yeah. So I was like, this is the problem, that on one hand, you have this upwardly mobile desire to be an India that speaks English, that understands the English world, that can rub shoulders with giants across the world.
Yeah.
On the other hand, as an urban Indian, at the first sign of upward mobility, you dismiss your heritage. You sort of leave Hindi or whatever language you speak at the shores of your proverbial, whatever. Like you basically leave it. And as a result, I know many of my friends who cannot read the mother tongue that they speak, who can write it in the Roman script, but they cannot even comprehend what the Hindi newspaper or the Bangla newspaper says.
But this is a problem in Hindi cinema, for instance. If you go again down south, Tamil actors or Kannada actors, or Telugu actors or Malayali actors, they read their script in their original language,
Mhm.
in their mother tongue. Hindi actors or Hindi cinema actors prefer scripts written in, the Roman alphabet, because they can no longer, but they're going to say the dialogues in Hindi, but they don't retain the ability to read fluent Hindi.
Mhm.
Right? And this is the big challenge. This is the big problem. So we are basically slowly becoming more and more deracinated. And I do think, in recent years, there's been a pushback. I think a lot of people are pushing back against these ideas.
Mhm.
But I remember when I wrote Being Hindu, there is a mother of a dear friend of mine who told me that I'm really happy that you wrote this book. And I said, why, auntie? Why this particular book? I've written other things. So she said, look, I mean, in my generation, that is their generation, we always thought the thing to do was to be like the West. So we wanted to dress like them and speak like them and, adopt their culture and, learn that, in the spoons kept beside your, plate, you have to begin from the outside and move to
Yeah.
the inside
Yeah.
and all
British
of that,
etiquette
right?
classes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And we tried to push our children to become world facing because we thought the opportunities would open up for them across the world.
Yeah.
India was not the place where opportunities were, right? What happened because of that is they not only went far away from the motherland per se, they went far away from the culture.
Hmm.
So therefore, they never retained, or they didn't retain, sort of indigenous roots that would bring them back,
Mhm.
right? And today, many of them realize that, it's the feeling when you really understand the void in your life when your parents are no longer there. Losing your mother culture is like that.
Yeah.
One day you will wake up and realize what the void is. One day, and which is why NRI populations feel this, right? One day they wake up, they have their American dream or European dream or whatever. They have their suburban home and the right colored dog and, a BMW in their garage and blah, blah, blah. And one day they wake up one morning and they realize that something inside them is empty.
Mm.
Right? And what is that emptiness? That emptiness is not because they're living somewhere else. The emptiness is because they have cut the umbilical cord that attaches them and nourishes them from their home culture.
Yeah, that is the reason why
You can be in any part of the world. And if you're connected to your culture, you'll be fine. But if you cut that umbilical cord, like if you cut your ties with your own parents, one day you will wake up and feel that there is something missing. It's the same thing.
You're going to be a drifter, a mercenary, someone like there's many people who come to a country like India if they've been excommunicated or expelled or they just want to leave. And you can see that it's very hard when you're floating in the middle in between cultures.